Good afternoon, Internet. Anybody who has given support or aid to BLM has now directly funded anti-Semitic hate crimes. I think that's a fair statement, and let me go ahead and support that. Quintez Brown. That's a name I think is going to be very familiar with a lot of people, not if the mainstream media has anything to say about it, because they probably won't. But Quintez Brown is the man who is now most famous for attempting to assassinate a mayoral candidate. So, this happened very recently, a couple of days ago, in fact. Now, even the police chief, right off the bat, said this is probably because the mayoral candidate himself is a Jewish man. Now, personally, I could care less. I don't have a lot of strong thoughts about the Jewish community. I honestly think their culture is fascinating and, if nothing else, intensely resilient. They've been around for thousands of years, despite a tremendous amount of opposition. If nothing else, that deserves a bit of respect. Moving on, though, that is not an opinion shared by many people within BLM, such as Linda Sarsour or Mr. Louise Farrakhan, who compared Jewish people to termites at one point in time and other assorted vermin, and I'm sure there are many, many more. There are more, I just can't remember their names off the top of my head. But let's focus on Mr. Quintez Brown real quick. Mr. Quintez Brown is a noted BLM activist and columnist who's been writing puff pieces about them and about critical race theory for years and years and years, and of course getting paid to do so. What a valuable member of society he is. I'm sure if all the BuzzFeed writers disappeared, we would just be heartbroken. Sarcasm aside, Quintez Brown belonged to a group called the Armed Forces of the Lion of Judah. Now, these people, much like the Black Hebrew Israelites, they basically believe that the true Judaic peoples are all of African descent, and the paler-skinned people and the people living in the Middle East are actually just evil whitey who have effectively stolen their culture from them and their history. And the Lion of Judah takes it a tiny bit further in saying that the Jewish people actually started the entire transatlantic slave trade. Apparently none of them have cracked open a history book or, taken a look at all at the Arab caliphates or the previously existing slave markets in Africa run by the tribes that existed on the West Coast, which, became massively wealthy and powerful kingdoms that, for the most part, preyed on the interior of Africa, very similar to how actually the Aztecs and Mayans preyed on the smaller tribes in their subcontinent. And, history repeats itself with absolutely every single group. But moving on. This was a part of this man's belief, and I encourage you to look up some of his Twitter posts if the overlords in big tech haven't destroyed them already, but thankfully, there are people who have archived them. But here's the more important point. So, it's likely that this was an anti-Semitic attack, because an anti-Semite went ahead, a very avowed and loud, proud anti-Semite, just recently attacked the Jewish man who was running for political office opposed to another BLM activist who's also running for political office. Funny that. In any event, what happened to this man? Well, after attempted murder and an attempted hate crime, he was given a $100,000 bail, I think it was. Yeah, something around that number. Anyways, and BLM paid it within a day. Got that man right out of jail. So flat out, here's what that tells everybody. Go on. Try to kill people. BLM will bail you out so long as you're on their side. And isn't that just the message that's been being sent out for the past several years? If you're on the right side and you have friends with deep pockets, they will bail you out no matter how atrocious your actions are. After all, people during the riots that have been going on all throughout blue cities for the past couple of years have all been bailed out, and their crimes include not only the murder of good people like David Dorn, but the actual burning alive of children who were unfortunate enough to be caught in the low-income housing areas that got burned in places like Portland or Detroit or pick a city. So, for all those people running around on Twitter and everything, proudly saying, yeah, I support this organization, who wouldn't? What are you, some kind of Nazi? Oh boy, that doesn't age well. Because now apparently, BLM is literally taking their money, much of which is still missing, and they're using it to bail out anti-Semites who attempted to murder Jewish politicians. So, anybody who's given money to BLM, anybody who's given support to them, you basically put bullets in his gun and told him to go at it. These people, and you know what the worst thing is? They'll never be repentant about it. They'll never accept it. They'll never say they were wrong. They'll never admit to themselves or anybody else that they were wrong. They are fully and totally brainwashed. Just avoid them. Work on yourself. Get outside every now and again. Exercise, go swimming, go running, climbing, what have you. Eat some fresh vegetables. Stock up on dry goods. Eat some meat. Get out in the sun. And overall, take care of yourself. Improve yourself. Live a good life. And prepare yourself for what's coming, because this is not going to be the last one. It's not even the first. And it's certainly not going to be the last. Things will get worse across the Western world in a couple of years. They have to. We have not yet reached the lowest point of our civilization. So, prepare for that. Keep your friends close. Build up your personal strength. Take care of your community and yourselves. And have a good day.